Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this Instagram Live with Anthony. So Anthony Mascolo will be joining us this morning. So good morning, everybody. Anthony Mascolo will be joining us this morning. So I have spoken to him, so I know he's up. Anyone that knows Anthony will know that he's not an early riser. So I'm just waiting for him to ask to join the video. So I hope you're all doing well. You can see we've got lots of people joining already, so welcome to everybody. It's week 3 in lockdown here for the UK, and good morning Mike, good morning Laura, morning Keeks. Nice to see the team all supporting me, thank you. Anthony Mascolo's joined, and he's waiting for Anthony. Hold on one second. Anyone who doesn't follow Anthony, make sure you're following Anthony Mascolo 57 on Instagram. Good morning.
Good morning.
And
Good
there
morning.
he is. That was seamless. It's always the technology that worries me, Anthony, because I'm just like, it's gonna fail.
It's a bit confusing, but I'm starting to learn it. I think it's just one of the things that's been good. Let me just move this so it's a bit more comfy.
There you go. We can see you beautifully.
Yeah,
so, good morning.
And I don't like it. I'm not a very early riser.
I did say before you joined that anybody who knows you will be surprised that I've managed to get you up at 10 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. It's great to see you. Great to see you.
I did call you at 9 though, didn't I, to make sure you were up?
Yes, you did. You did.
I did. I was your early morning call. So today what we wanted to do was just basically have a chat. Obviously, we're going to talk about the current situation, which is massively impacting the hairdressing industry. But also kind of just so that people can get to know you better. I think you won't want to hear this, but you are hugely admired the world over. And I have to say, knowing you, you are also the most humble person I think I've met. So there'll be lots of questions coming in, I'm sure. Well, it's very honest. So what are you doing to stay in touch during this kind of social distancing or lockdown, whatever you want to call it?
Well, I think before I answer that, I think it's, I'd like to reach out to all the hairdressers and all our community and friends and family with it. It's been an industry that I've been in since, when I was born. My family were doing it and everything. So it's very much part of our lives. Just to make sure everyone's okay, keep safe, keep well. It's difficult, like you said, 3 weeks now that we're locked down. Yeah. And, hairdressers are very social, so it's going to be quite difficult for us. Yeah. To not really connect, and so we need to do that through technology, and I think we are, But myself, what I'm doing to stay in touch, I've been learning how to do the Skype, so I've been communicating with my team, and then my TG team, we've been communicating once a week, all of us from all over the world, and that's been great because actually we're probably seeing each other and talking to each other even more in some cases, because we're kind of at home. But, with the guys in America, with everybody, Thomas, Akosh, Gan in Japan, everyone, all of us are just connecting and trying to stay in touch. Yeah. Family, obviously, getting in touch with family and friends that you haven't seen for a while and just getting yourself reconnected with them and learning all this Skyping and technology. I'm at home with my wife, Pat, and my son, Josh. My daughters one's in Scotland and one's in the country in Norwich with my granddaughter. So we're not all together, all of us, but we stay in touch all the time, every day with FaceTime and stuff. So it's good. I think that's really the main thing I've been trying to do.
Interesting. There's a lady called Karen Simpson who's a self-employed hairdresser, and she's saying, what would you say to stay up? How does she stay upbeat? Because she's literally on her own.
Stay in touch through social, through our technology, really, not necessarily social media, but just calling and speaking to people on a regular basis, create some kind of routine. And I think that's important. I mean, what advice would you give her to, Jane?
Well, I think it's about having the connection, isn't it? And making sure that you're talking to people. And I think as much as there's a plethora of education being put online, which is absolutely fantastic. And, Hairdressers Journal is doing that. I know you guys have been doing that. All the companies are doing that, which is brilliant. And making stuff accessible to everybody, which I think is really important. But I think also sometimes you need to take some time out from that too and actually give yourself some space and not feel that you have to be learning and connecting 24 hours a day.
I don't think it's just about learning. It's about also just connecting with people and
absolutely
kind of staying in touch and working that quite a lot. I think that's important.
And as you say, you've been involved in hairdressing since the minute you were born. We all know that. You come from a hairdressing dynasty. There's no doubt about that with the Mascolo family. Obviously your kind of family and extended family are all hairdressers. So
what are you saying to them about, you know, kind of the current situation, and also how, talking to clients, you know, what would you say to clients that are, I mean, there's been real mixed reviews about people offering home care tips, as in how to cut your fringe or a colour, which, you know, I will be waiting, definitely. And if I look for those that are old enough, like a slightly red-haired Dougal from the Magic Roundabout, so be it. But I absolutely will not be doing my hair at home.
No, well, I don't think it's about doing your hair at home, and we shouldn't really, you know, we're at home, keep it healthy, keep it good, but, you know, wait till we then can all get together and have a really great party cutting hair.
Yeah,
you know, I think that's important. I mean, hairdressers are very positive people and very kind of, you know, social. So it's a tough one, especially if you are on your own, because we like to have that kind of contact. And we go to work every day. If you're a session worker, or if you're a stylist in a salon, if you're a teacher, you go and you're with people all the time. So, you know, it's a difficult one when you're stuck at home. But then, you know, just keep looking at stuff, looking at magazines, looking at on, you know, Pinterest, just getting yourself motivated and looking at keeping yourself focused on what we do. You know, we're hairdressers, right? And that's our stuff that we do. So keeping yourself in touch with it, looking at stuff. I don't think it's you know, if you're a young hairdresser, you want to learn, then there's stuff out there for you. For an old hairdresser like me, you want to keep in touch and look at stuff.
Not old.
Then there's stuff for us too. You know, and I think it's really just keeping yourself in contact and communicating is probably the most important thing, you know.
And I think what's been lovely is the industry's really come together as a community. I think it feels like everybody, regardless of the brands they work for or the salons they work for, people are trying to work together to come through, because we're in it together. You know, whatever business that's hair related, we're in this together.
It's our business, and we, you know, we look at what's going on out there, and it's, you know, it's very tough, and it's quite unprecedented. You know, it's never happened to us in our generation.
No.
And, you know, people are not, you know, everyone's responding in different ways, you know, and I think you go through a transition. You know, one minute it's all fun, you're at home, and, you know, and then you start thinking, hold on a minute, it's actually serious. And then there's all the people out there that NHS that are looking after everyone, which they're doing an amazing job. And, you know, try and do what we're supposed to do, you know, so it helps the whole situation. That's staying at home and trying not to have contact, social distancing, and all that situation is important for us to do. But let's stay together as a hairdressing community and friends, and we look out for what we can do and how we keep ourselves motivated and you know, in touch. And I think that's the most important thing, really. You know, we have to go for it as we go along. You know, every day changes and your feelings change, but just staying in touch, I think, is great.
Do you think the industry will have changed when kind of normality, whatever normality looks like, when we come out of this?
I think everything will have changed. You know, it won't be just our industry; it'll be every industry. But you know, it's the world would have changed. But I think we will be probably really busy when we come out of it. You know, we'll be really busy. So I think that would be great. And I think you know, we've got to look at it. We've got to look at stuff positively. We've got to work with what's going on and be part of. Everyone's involved in this, in every different job and every different thing. You know, we have something that we use our hands, and you know, we're one of the only things that, you know, if you think about it, you know, there was an article in the Times a few years back, and the people that are the happiest in their job are carers. The second happiest were hairdressers, and that's what was written there. And you know, and we do something that we love. So not being able to do it now, but we still can keep that communication, look at it, and it's what we do. You know, so I think that's one of the things that will keep us driving positive.
So Karen Simpson's saying she's doing tutorials for her clients about using colour retouch spray for roots, just to show people. And I know other people have been doing, you know, someone put earlier on, I saw on the chat saying, tell people to rock a ponytail, you know, they're back in, and those kind of things. And I think it is about kind of staying in touch with clients and everybody in the wider community, isn't it? But just not giving them misadvice and information.
I think, you know, people cutting their own hair is not really what they should be doing. But, you know, for us to just stay in touch with them and prepare for when we come out of this, you know, is probably the best thing. And and the same, I think we have that with everything. And you know, we're not. What we're doing at TG is really just trying to connect and just share the stuff that we have. We've got a big archive of stuff that, you know, we're best kept secret sometimes. You never see all the things that we've done. And it's a great opportunity to put that out. And we have a thing called TG Fuse, and we put it on there. And I've been putting it on my social stuff that I've been doing with my son. You know, and I'm learning it. It's not something that, you know, it's my forte. But I'm enjoying actually staying connected. But using all the, you know, things from the past and those kind of ideas. having enough there out there so people have got a choice. I think that's really what's important.
Well, I was doing some research on you this morning, and your video that you did for us, it was a haircut you did, is our highest viewed video on YouTube, on our Hairdressers Journal channel on YouTube. So
Really? Oh, nice.
there's lots
Fantastic.
of good stuff. There's lots
What
of
is
good
it?
stuff
Which
out
one
there.
is it? It's
Oh, damn it. Keith, you're watching. You'll have to tell me which one it is and I'll tell him. I did look at it and then I completely forgot. So, and then, I mean, that's the current situation. But also we wanted to talk to you about you and your career, which I know is well documented, but there's lots of stuff that I think people would want to ask. And actually, a few people contacted me and I contacted them and said, okay, I'm going to have a chat with Anthony. What would you want to know? And there were some similarities in the questions. So kind of for you, career highlight, what's been your career highlight so far? Then the best might yet to come.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a difficult one because they've happened all the way through my career. You know, obviously the days when we used to do the things with the hair awards with you, they were great. You know, all the days with Tony and Guy, just doing all those competitions were fantastic. Gave lots of energy. But then there's been, as it moves along, there's other stuff. Working with Tony Rizzo on the alternative has always been,
it's a passion,
really,
isn't it?
Yeah, it is a passion. And that's a great thing. But I think, as you move along, there's always something that works out great. We've done we've got our own magazine that we do, which is just purely for creative. There's no commercial, no brand, nothing in it, apart from people just putting in their creative. And that's been a nice high when we started to do that. And so everything kind of fits in. Doing the TG shows, they've always been one of my great highlights. I love doing that stuff.
And do you have
obviously, I'm talking about work. Obviously, there's other things that are more.
Okay, well, I'd like to think.
I like getting married, having kids, doing all the.
Being a granddad.
That's right next to me, and my kids.
Of course, you've got to say that. Hello, Pat. Being a granddad, I know, has been a huge highlight for you both.
That's been fantastic. Yeah, I've loved that. Yeah, it reminded me of what it was like, 20 years ago when we had our first kids, Georgina, and then Alex, and then Josh. Then they've all grown up, and then all of a sudden you have a grandchild. It's like going right back to that time.
Yeah.
But it's flown by. I mean, it's like she's 6 now. It's just gone by. It was like yesterday.
I know.
And
Well,
I
that's
love.
good.
Yeah, she's beautiful. Elizabeth.
So the video was the undercut, but what's the favourite haircut you've ever done? What's your personal favourite that you've ever done?
Well, I've got two. There's the undercut and the transient. They're my two ones. And then I always like doing the long one as well. We used to call it the Louise, and just a shaggy kind of shape throughout. But the undercut, everyone knows me for that. I mean, that's what I do. And the transient, I love that kind of cut.
Okay.
In fact, that's the only two cuts I do. So I think I can still do. I can still do them.
So you could be knocking out a few of those when this is all over and everyone's desperate for a haircut.
My son wants me to cut the underneath. His hair's grown out underneath, and he just needs it trimmed up. He said, "Oh, can you do that after this?" I said, "Yeah, no, I'll do that."
Well, we need a video of it. We could have a live tutorial. Come on, you could do that.
Yeah, well, we might do. We'll film it. He's good at doing that stuff, so you can film it while I'm doing it.
I mean, I know you genuinely come from a hairdressing dynasty, but who do you admire in hairdressing?
Oh, I mean, everybody. I think there's so many great people out there. First and foremost, my brother Bruno, who kind of guided me and gave me the opportunities, and my brother Tony and Guy as well, obviously. But then there's people like obviously the ones from I kind of grew up with when I was doing it, Robert and Trevor and Vidal Sassoon, and all those kind of things. But today, you've got some fabulous hairdressers out there. Tony Rizzo I admire a lot, but it's not always about what someone does with hair. It's also about what they their passion behind our industry. And I think there's a lot of people out there, and there's a lot of talent. I mean, if you look at it, that's what's really great, and that's what we try and do with Infringe. Really, is just to at first, it was something that we could do a load of stuff ourselves, but then you realize how much talent is out there. So it's there's so much, and not just session workers. There's all different people within the industry that really are doing some great stuff that we see. Especially when you see all the photos and all the things that come out, and what you do, and and just around you. And then obviously I've got my team, which I think are very talented. From Thomas and Akash and. Christelle does amazing colors, best colorist I know. And
she's watching.
There you go.
Morning, Christelle.
I mean, I can't see it. I see these things coming up in the bottom, but my it's a bit blurred. I need glasses, but it's all good. It's all good. You're watching it, so that's
I am.
good.
There's lots of people sending love.
Loads of them, very much so now. You could look and see, wow, people are doing some fantastic stuff.
Yeah.
So.
You've got people sending love from Cambodia, Anthony. So there you go. We're reaching to the far
love
corners.
love back.
Where do you go for inspiration? I mean,
well, where do I go for inspiration? I wrote some notes about that. What was it? For inspiration?
Anybody you think? Well, a couple of the questions I gave him some insight into, people, but not all of them, because I didn't want to put him completely on the spot at 10 a.m.
No, I mean, inspiration for me is looking at stuff and looking at magazines. Inspiration comes from, like we were just talking about, young hairdressers doing great stuff.
Yeah.
It's it's a different medium now, but if we really think about it, it's not much different. It's just a different way of showing people what you do. And before it was working with magazines and and trying to get it out through that way. Here it's like a much more kind of proactive, and more people can share their stuff. But looking at magazines, being at home, and
what do you think
I'm
about?
here with my wife, so we're having fun anyway, so it's good.
What do you think? I mean, obviously, Instagram has come about in, you and I remember the days when you're right, you have to get your work published in magazines, but now people can make them brands of themselves in a sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's great. It's great. I'm not really.
Do you like Instagram?
Yeah, I do like Instagram. I think, it's something where people can connect. And, these ones there, these live things are kind of new. So, they're quite interesting, because a lot of it you can prepare and you can put stuff up and you put your pictures up and whatever. But I think it's a great way people are able to communicate and show their work. And, it's a new way, and people that are doing it are getting the benefit and connecting. I think really that's what it's about. I don't see anything wrong with it, really.
You don't think there's been some talk in the industry around Instagram and people training on Instagram themselves and then saying, I'm a qualified hairdresser, or using lots of filters and stuff. Do you think people are educated enough to see through that?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, if you build a clientele and you're using, Instagram to do that, then, you've got to do a good haircut. I mean, you're as good as your last haircut. And I think that's really important. Showing, I think everyone's showing what they do. If we think about putting filters and whatever, we used to retouch pictures in the 70s, 80s. It wasn't a lot different. It's not a lot different. And you could tell it was retouched, and you can see the same now. And I think, there's always some bad things about everything, but the main thing is, I think it's great that people can connect and can use it to share and to be together. I think that's what's great about it.
And are there any Instagram accounts I absolutely agree. I mean, apart from you, and I've said to everybody, if you're not following Anthony Mascolo 57, then you absolutely should be. But what are the kind of Instagram accounts that you like and enjoy looking at?
Well, I mean, it's not my, I'm learning this more now, and it's not, I follow loads of people, I think. I mean, it's on there. Obviously I'm following you now. And, it's what was that? Oh, Georgina. Yeah, follow my daughter. But that's a private one. Yeah, she does pictures. She's a great photographer, and that, she sends, and you see all the pictures of her and the baby and my little granddaughter, and then, she does all, just anything. She's like a photographer. What was it? Fine art photographer, just photographing stuff. And so I follow her, and obviously my son does some stuff with his clothing and his hats and stuff, and it's very creative. But I follow a lot of people out there. I mean, it's following. Some of it's to get inspiration. I follow Vern Harper, who's a designer, Jiv, which we work together. All the guys that I work with, and family. I think it's, I'm not even sure really who follow. And then you kind of start seeing it, and then you get a hint of it, and then you follow the person. It's not. I'm not someone that's on my phone all the time with Instagram. I've got to be honest. But I'm working with Josh. It's not. He's working with me just to do a bit more, so I can learn it, and we can just kind of engage. I think the important thing is to engage and to be there if we can, in the best capacity that we can, and use it. But I think I've got about 300 people, or maybe more, that I follow. But it's all good stuff.
No, that's good.
And what about you? Do you use it? Or is it to do with work for you?
I do use it for work, but my personal Instagram, which has a lot of hairdressers on it, which is just Jayne Lewis-Orr, is a mixture of work and personal. And I like the fact that you can mix both. I don't have an issue with that. I think people are I'm interested to see, like, in a sense, what we're hoping to do here this morning with you is people get to know the person behind you. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's quite nice
Absolutely.
to share and people to see, you know, I'm interested to see I mean, I know your kids, but I'm interested to see your kids and what they're doing and other people's families and that, you know, it just, because actually you can take something from everybody. And I think more than ever right now, where we're all having to isolate, whether it be alone, as some people are, which is, I'm sure, hugely difficult, or with families, which also presents challenges for people. It's just about that connection. But I suppose the nice thing with it is you can choose to turn it on or turn it off. Someone's asking for any tips for salon owners during this time. I think you were saying about, you know, staying connected, staying in touch.
Yeah, I think that's the most important. You know, there's something for everyone out there that we can be doing. You know, there's the owners, there's the stylists. You know, there's all different, you know, hairdressers that do different capacity in their job.
Yeah.
And I think the salon owner, absolutely, it's not an easy situation, you know, and, you know, I'm still part of the salons we have in Tony and Guy in the States. So, you know, we've had to close them all down. Everybody's we're trying to find ways of, you know, looking after everybody. And I think that's the key thing. You know, it's a really difficult situation for everyone. And we've got to try and find out as much information on how we can support all the people that have been with us and you know, look after them and look after yourself, obviously. And I don't, you know, where we come out at the end is going to be very difficult because it depends how long this goes on and how, you know, what happens at the end of it. But one thing I know is that we'll all kind of prevail because hairdressers, that's what we do. You know, we're positive and we go with it and we, you know, stay upbeat and very positive, I think is the key. But connecting with your staff, connecting with your clients, I think is the best thing. And, you know, it's not all about Instagram. It's about, you know, Skyping. It's about WhatsApp. And I think that's probably, I use that more. You know, I'm more connected with that than I am necessarily looking at Instagram. But having that connection, phoning and now that you can do all this, you know, like, you know, FaceTime and everything, it's mad. You know, you can be just with someone. You're pretty much with them.
You're having dinner with them, even though they're in
contact with more people now than I
agree.
Being stuck at home than I was before when you're going out doing what we do.
Of course. And you're as well known really now for photography as you are for hairdressing. How did that come about? Hello to Tony and Guy in North Pakistan and Portugal.
Yeah, well, you know what it was? It was, you know, my wife Pat bought me a camera and I left it on the shelf, I've got to be honest, for a year. And then we started to, we were doing shoots in the 80s and working with different photographers. And it got to the point where I wanted to kind of say, can you get that angle? So then we just started, Pat started doing makeup, I started doing the photography, and we both were doing the hair. So it was early kind of 80s, you know, 83, 84, 85. And Bruno used to shoot years ago in the 70s as well, my brother. And I used to assist him with that. Then it kind of, you know, slowed off. And then, you know, Pat kind of really made me start doing it. And, you know, it was one of the things that really gave us our own identity. So we did it more. And I think that was one of the things I, you know, enjoyed the most. It was a nice transition from, you know, doing hair. And then I was still doing hair, obviously. And, you know, you still do hair now. But you move on and do something else that you know, we're very much always been a team. You know, if it be when, you know, Tony and Guy, and then especially now, you know, the team at TG. Doing the photography gets everybody in there, gets everybody involved. And, you know, it started because of what I said with myself and Pat. But, you know, we still continue that. And I've got people that have taught photography now that are doing the photography, like Alex and, you know, loads of different people that are there that work with us, you know, Panos and, you know, Harris. There's these guys that are very, very talented. They work with you, then, you know, and then it just spreads. So everyone can kind of participate. Growing a team is really a key thing, you know, and I think that's what photography really does. You know, it's kind of gets you to be in a situation where you can get, you know, hairdressers to express themselves. You know, it's good. I like it.
And Michael Lindsay, actually, who you obviously know really well, he's just said hairdressers taking control of their own image is important. So it's not the photographer controlling the shoot. And I feel passionately about that. The shoot is the hairdresser's shoot, not the photographer's shoot.
Absolutely. Michael's he's a very, very talented filmmaker, and we work a lot together. You know, we've been doing loads of stuff for years. But we've been staying very connected you know, lately, just so we can really see how we can engage and the right kind of message and put it out. Because within Fringe, it's a very kind of, you know, it's a very unique kind of magazine. It has no ties with anything. But what message we want to get across? Because it's not just hairdressers. You've got artists that use hair. You've got, you know, loads of across the board of people that are freelance. And they're all at home. So, you know, we live when you're a freelancer, and when you do that, you live because you go out and you do your work. So we're trying to encourage people just to carry on doing art and keeping themselves, you know, in that kind of motivated state. So then when we come back, we're all positive and ready.
Okay. And I mean, obviously you have both angles with the hairdressing and the photography. You also judge our British Hairdressing Awards, which we work with Charles for Professional. And someone's asked about retouching, which always comes up. And as you know, my briefing is very tight on the retouching.
Yeah.
What would you say about retouching?
It's not, you know, there's room for it. You know, we don't do a lot of retouching with our pictures, really, because, you know, I like to keep the hair looking real. Yeah. And if you start, you know, the whole point is how well you do it, not how well you make it look. You know, I think you've got to do it. But it's a choice. You know, people have that choice to do that how they want. Yeah. You know, there's some amazing shots out there, and you can see what's been retouched, but you can still see the skill that's been put in the hair. You know, and I think you could almost fake it completely, but I think, you know, you'll know in those circumstances. Now, the way you do it, you have someone sends you the original, and then, you know, so you can see it's real, and then, you know, if they retouch it, you know what's happened to it. Yeah. But it's been going on for many, many years. You know, some people do it a lot more than others. You know, it's not my preference. You know, I like to keep it so it's more real. And I think if you really look at it, you know, today's day and age, you know, you've got people now, and, you know, everyone can create stuff with the way the phones are. I mean, the phone's got more capacity than you know. I used to use that digital camera, did, you know, 10 million pixels. I mean, that's nothing now. You know, I mean, it's like the phone does even more than that. And but I think, you know, retouching is a choice, but it's not particularly my choice that you use it a lot. So it doesn't. So it's not real. No. You know, but it's sometimes people want to make a fantasy kind of thing, and but I think we can tell, you know, what's really gone on. Even if, you know, when you're looking at something, you're looking at it for what it is. So if you enjoy what you're looking at, how they got there is, you know, sometimes almost irrelevant. You can say, oh, right, they didn't know how to do it, but they got to the point where they made it look how they wanted. And I think, you know, in some cases, you know, you see that retouching from a lot of different hairdressers, but you need to look a bit deeper than that, you know, and say, right, well, I know that's been done, but it's still what you're looking at looks great. I think that's really part of what it does in its position in there.
So McManus Hair is saying, Anthony, you've been one of the main influences on my career, which is a lovely message. As I said already, you've grown up in a hairdressing dynasty and literally grew up in it because your dad was a hairdresser, and then all four of you became hairdressers and got involved in the business, and kind of the world knows then what happened with Tony and Guy becoming a super brand and then TG. What childhood memories or lessons do you keep with you that you still use today, that you would take back from your kind of?
Well, I think mine, they're working at the salon or starting early was, you know, I was there when I was 12, you know, I was going to school, and obviously after that go to the salon, you know, because I was with my dad, you know, and my brothers, and looking at, you know, doing that and being a family and being very strong together and being, you know, to be humble, to be, you know, to really kind of appreciate what we've got and really, you know, kind of be thankful for all those things, I think is one of the things I learned from my family, you know, and they're the things that stay with you, and you want to kind of teach that to your family and your children, and I think also, you know, even with the team, you want to still you remember those things of, right, you know, stay, you know, really, you know, want to be the best. You know, it was always a kind of a mad thing. You know, you just wanted to beat everybody else and try and do the best and really try. I think that was a little bit of a sickness, and that was there. And I think most hairdressers, you know, people that really want to strive and want to show how they can do, it's embedded in us. We want to be creative like that. But I think I learned that humbleness and that, you know, that sharing from, you know, my brother Bruno and my other brothers, absolutely. And, you know, and it was something that, you know, made you kind of take it with you. And it's a much nicer way of doing things. I like it that way. And I try to instill that in my kids as well.
Well, it's interesting because it's brilliant. And there's a lady called Rebecca Rourke who said her career in hairdressing started thanks to Tony and Guy. And she said she'd like to thank all of the Mascolos for that. So, you know, clearly.
I want to thank them too. You know, it's you know, I was part of something that my brothers had created, and, you know, and I grew up in that. And then obviously later on, then I, you know, started to do what we did. Yeah. But, you know, they gave me the opportunity. And when you're younger, you know, you don't always do exactly what you're told, you know. So I was given,
I can't believe
let
that
off a lot of times, but at the same time, treated like all the others. And I thought that was always very important, you know. And, you know, if you work hard, then you can get to where you want to go. So no, same, like she said, thanks Tony and Guy, so do I, you know, I mean, it was obviously great days.
Yeah, they were great days. And another son of salon supergroup, so Stell from Rush has been tuning in, sending you love.
Yeah, they're great boys, those. They do an amazing job.
Yeah,
amazing
they
job.
do.
I mean, there's so many, you know, people that are very, very ambitious and want to strive for it and want to really create. You know, so that's why when you ask me that question, you know, everyone out there is doing some fantastic stuff, and I think everyone deserves credit. And we're all in a situation. You know, people are businessmen, people are creatives, they're salons, workers. They're all different. Everyone does it to the best of their ability. Then you're doing a great job. You know, and I think that's. But it's going to be tougher for people. You know, salons but we'll get through it. I think we'll get through this. But it's not just our industry; it's every industry.
No.
So, you know, we've got to obviously stick together because this is what we do. But then, you know, thinking that the bigger picture, it's, you know, I think everyone will get out of this and we'll get to have fun. And I'm looking forward to having everyone round and eating some pasta and all getting together. I mean, that was definitely, getting some Japanese food as well.
Absolutely. And what do you think, as kind of whether you're a freelance, a stylist, a salon owner, and a manufacturer, what do you think the industry will take away from this for kind of now and future generations? Do you think there'll be a big learning from this?
I think well, definitely. I think we'll all learn something from this. You know, I think it shows now, you know, how people respond. You know, it's a difficult one. You don't know how to respond, and it's kind of just really it was there, but it just kind of happened. And you know, we didn't really think we weren't going to be going to work. I don't think anyone thought that. And I don't think we all thought we'll be stuck at home. And then, you know, we're 3 weeks we're doing it. But no, you know, it's 3 weeks now. It's going to go on for longer. Yeah, so you take it as it goes along. And I think we will learn a lot from it, you know. But I think the world has gone through loads of things. You know, I don't think and they've got through it.
Yeah, they have.
Through wars and through different things, you know. Obviously, we didn't experience that and whatever. Yeah. And this is a different kind of thing. It's obviously, you know, it's people, you know, getting infected and not being well. Some people get infected, that's okay. But, you know, we're all going through this where we have to stay at home. And when we come out the other end, obviously, the business will be affected. The way we socialize probably be affected. You know, me and Pat go for a little walk, and then you're walking down. You know, we cross the other side, and they cross the other side of the road if people are coming down. And it's almost, why would you do that? But you do, because you're being guided to do that. So when we all get back, I think, I'm looking forward to giving big hugs and kisses to, you know, to my family and to, you know, to my friends. Absolutely. Yeah. So I think we'll come out. We'll be good.
So I've been asked, and it's interesting because we were speaking about this. David Ra 62. What about an Anthony Mascolo hair history book?
Well, we've got history books. We've got them.
You have.
And, you know, we've got the Tony and Guy and the TG history, really. And me and Pat are hoarders. We keep everything, literally everything. You know. Too much, in fact, you know. But we've got all the books here at the house, which is great. So so we've been getting them out. We're going to try and film some of them and just talk about them and go through it. In fact, maybe we might do something with that and you know, and to just have a chat about it. And you know, it's figuring out how to do it. My son knows, you know, so we're working out to film it. Tell him what? Yeah.
Is that
what we're going to do is
Morning,
we want to film. He showed me something yesterday because he connects with this stuff and how to use the phone, how to use the cameras and all that. I mean, I'm used to having a crew and different things, and you got different cameras or whatever. What you got here is you've got me, Pat, and Josh, and the phones. So with that, we can do something. But we're staying connected with all the team, all the people that we work with all the time. So we're going to try and film the books from above and then just chat about it. I quite like the rawness of it all. And you know, the kind of contact that we can make. But I think more than anything, it's just trying to keep it, you know, keep it going, and you know, looking at stuff and seeing ways of how we can stay connected. And I think for me, that's a good way. I'm not going to be getting on a block and doing stuff, and there's so many people out there doing some great stuff. There's loads of education for everyone. But if we can do something and stay connected, well, that's what we want to try and do.
Oh, that's brilliant. And perhaps an undercut on Josh we could see later on.
Maybe.
And I think Emil McMahon, who's a business coach, he said, you know, clients will be desperate. We will all be desperate to get back to the hairdresser and salon. Because
I think so. I think it'll be, you know, when we all get back,
I'm hoping it'll be boom
we'll be
time.
really, really busy. I think it'll be fantastic. You know, and I think we need to look at it like that, you know, and, you know, be there for the onslaught So all the stylists, keep yourselves ready, because all those clients will be coming as soon as we get out of this.
They
They'll be coming
certainly
to the salons and they'll need good haircuts. It'll be good because there'll be loads of long hair that we can do lots of creativity. So make sure that we're on track for that, definitely.
Absolutely. And one final question, Anthony.
Yeah.
You must, well, I learned this week that I was intrigued. You would seem to be bilingual when I was tuning into your Instagram lives, but what's your secret hidden talent?
Well, my secret hidden talent. Well, I think we'd better ask Pat that one. You know, Pat, come round.
one we can share.
Okay, yeah, well, let's keep it clean, man. Keep it clean. What was it? We said what was my secret talent. I ain't got no talent. It's Pat.
Lovely to see you. What's his secret hidden talent, Pat? He's not going to tell me.
You've forgotten.
No, is architecture.
Oh, yeah, right. I'm a frustrated architect.
Yeah.
Are you really?
He's got a real good spatial awareness of space and design, and loves it.
Well, it's like hair cutting, isn't it? It's all lines and precise. You know, it's all shapes and angles.
No.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Well done. Yeah.
And Pat, can I tell you that Tony and Guy Brazil are asking you to do a haircut?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
she can cut my hair all off soon. If we get stir crazy, then that'll probably happen next.
Yeah, and Josh is going to do my colour.
Yeah, Josh, come here. Say hello to everyone.
you're getting much love, Pat.
Let me grab Josh. He's here. You can see why I've got to cut his hair.
Oh, hang on.
He's got like a bush.
Do you know any good hairdressers?
Yeah.
Do I know as well? There's three right in front of me, and it's really not fair that three of you are allowed to isolate together.
Yeah, I mean, my colour done.
She needs to know who's a good hairdresser.
Apparently, someone's also said that you're a great cook.
Oh, she is. Who, me? Or Pat?
Yeah, you.
Oh, Pat.
I know Pat is.
Josh is a good cook. No, well, you know what it is.
You make a mean spaghetti vongole.
Yeah, I can make a mean spaghetti vongole or langoustine, you know. But then, you know, when you got someone that's a great cook and your family cook, you don't end up doing it. I'm good at looking like I'm doing it. You know, get all the stuff ready, get all the things ready. But I'm not doing that. Someone else is getting that ready, which is Pat.
Cool.
And, you know,
He makes a big mess.
I make a mess. Yeah, no, but you know what? Food is a really great thing, and it's really nice actually, because we go out a lot to eat. We haven't gone out at all. Well, obviously we can't. There's nowhere to go, and we're at home cooking and playing around and experimenting, making different stuff. Okay. And you know, it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable. Yeah, absolutely. It's getting in touch again. You know, being at home has been great actually. You know, we're not killing each other yet.
No, we haven't done it.
Nah, but
no,
yeah, normally I'd like to be at home and say, I want to stay home, I don't want to go to work. But now, you know, we're forced to stay at home. Let me get out.
You want to go out?
But
thank you so much.
Thank you.
And you, Pat, and you, Josh. It's been lovely to see you all.
Take care, Jane.
Yeah, and you. And we hopefully will speak again soon, Anthony. I'm sure we could get lots of questions and do this again in the future. So
brilliant.
Thank you.
My love to everyone out there, and you know, especially all the guys I work with, and obviously all the hairdressers that I know. You know, this is a great time for us to stay strong and healthy and stay good.
Absolutely.
Stay home, stay safe, stay well. And from us three, love everybody out there. And thanks very much, Jane.
Pleasure and love from everyone at HJ to everybody watching. And next week we've got Adam Reed and Mark Woolley already signed up to join us, which will be an interesting watch. With Gary Hooker and Michael Young, Darren Ambrose, and lots more people. And also on our YouTube. So this will also be posted, just so if anyone has missed it, onto our YouTube channel. So
well, if you don't mind me saying, you know, we have something that we're trying to do, which is teaching views and getting out there. And I've got all my guys interviewing each other and chatting and just really kind of trying to engage with everyone.
Brilliant.
So we're working on that stuff too. I think keeping busy is the best thing we can do, and try and stay in contact with everyone.
Absolutely. So, thank you, darling.
Love you lots. Thank you.
Lots of love. Take care. Bye.